Today is day 55 of the podcast, and I want to show a map that begins to put the whole picture together. We've been talking about the rock at Horeb, and that would be represented by the H there. There was a rock in the wilderness that they struck first, and then they crossed the wilderness, and there was the rock at Kadesh, and that would be represented by the K. But I want to draw back a little bit farther and see the whole picture now, and how this journey of Israel is divided into three pictures. And so we have Israel in cruel bondage in Egypt for over 400 years, and Egypt represents a type of the kingdom of darkness, and Pharaoh is really represents a type of Satan. And the children, Israel was held under bondage in a place they were not designed for, and the Lord comes and through many deliverances sets them free from this kingdom of darkness. They take a long journey through the wilderness, and that's represented by this broad space in the middle. And this is the place where the law is given, and they become tutored by the law during this wilderness journey. They continue on their journey because the destination God has for them was never just the wilderness. They are to cross into the promised land and begin to inherit the kingdom that God had in mind. But I want you to take note here that there are two crossings, two supernatural crossings. One was through the Red Sea, and that crossing really represents death and dying to sin, and leaving that behind. That the cross, the first cross, represents separation from sin. And that's why the cross, Jesus' cross of salvation, is what sets us free from the bondage of the kingdom of darkness. But then there is another cross, and it's another supernatural crossing. And remember that I said that the name Kadesh meant separation and holiness. Well, the Jordan crossing is a time where this is the cross for us. And for us to walk as people walking in the fullness of our design, we have to die to self. And that comes because trying to walk by the law, they never ever could possess the land. And so they are going to have to learn to die to their strengths, to die to their weaknesses, to go in and live into the fullness of what God has for them. Now we're going to come back to this map, but I want to ask this question. What's your greatest motivation to obey the Spirit in your day of trial in the wilderness?